All right, we are on number 248, The 400 Blows, written and directed by Francois Truffaut, starring Jean-Pierre-LEAud. Forgive my pronunciation there. I don't know any French, but yeah, this is an all-time classic. If you go to film school, you're most likely gonna watch this movie. I don't even know how I've never seen this film. And I would highly recommend it if you are interested in filmmaking or a film enthusiast, film lover. You need to watch The 400 Blows. This is just a master class in cinematography. For the time that it came out in 1959, I am blown away. Like, a lot of the shots in this movie, there's panning, there's tracking shots, there's whip pans in this movie, are way ahead of its time, and I think that it influenced a ton of filmmakers after that. I know this was the start of the new French wave in cinema, and it is rightly so. Francois Truffaut and everyone on the crew did a great job on this movie. And I will say, if you are a person that doesn't like black and white movies, doesn't like old movies, I have a friend who refuses to watch black and white and old movies just because they're older and they don't look as good as newer movies. And I know that there's probably a few people like that. I think you need to surpass that, because it's important to look at and see the early movies that influenced so many later movies that came out afterwards, and this is one of them. I know I saw a list of a number of filmmakers, big name filmmakers, that listed this movie as one of their favorites and most influential, and it deserves all the praise that it got when it came out at this time. And I don't think there was really anything else that came out at this time that had the cinematography and looked the way this movie did back then. Everything that's used in this film you see today. You see all of the close-ups, the framing. You see all of this influence still today. And I think that's incredible. He had such an impact with this movie. And yeah, we're going to dive right into this. So let's start with the acting. You know, the acting for a lot of this movie, I'll be honest, is very one-dimensional, because it focuses a lot on young boys. And usually, young boys are somewhat one-dimensional. So there wasn't a whole lot to really comment on the acting. I think it was well done, but it wasn't anything diverse or really anything that stood out. But I will say, for the main character, he played a 14-year-old boy, and he did have some diversity. You know, there was a little complexity to this character, even at the age of 14. And yeah, I think he showed some range with this character, and I think he did a really good job. And the fact that it captivates me and some older audiences, and all of these filmmakers that are now pretty old, but they're probably, in their 30s, 40s at the time, maybe 20s. And the fact that he can captivate audiences at such a young age is a truly special talent. And so he did a great job with his role. And now let's dive into the story. So for the story, it's a coming of age story. This kid, his parents they're married, but the mother and the father, they have their issues, and it leads to this kid like rebelling and going against his parents and not showing up at school and sort of trying to find his own path in life. His mother is actually seeing someone else outside of their marriage, and it's hinted at that she had a former husband as well, and she has a lot of issues. And also, the mother never wanted this kid. The mother never wanted this child, and you can see that throughout the entire movie. Their relationship is not great, and it feels very fake from the mother, right? It feels like she has to be a mother and provide for this child, like it's forced upon her. And I think that really hurts the kid as well, because he doesn't get that proper motherhood that you need. And the father does try. The father tries to be a good father, but he doesn't stick with his attempts. you'll see throughout the movie that he has parts where he'll be strict on their son, and he will force the son to, he'll say things like, oh, you better stop acting up because you're going to join the military, or you're going to join the army, or you're going to have big consequences. Like there was a particular part where the kid he like lit a candle and ended up setting, I don't know exactly what it was, but set something on fire in the home. And initially I thought the parents' reaction was pretty normal, and the dad was pretty furious with his son, and it's actually the mom's son, but furious with the kid. But then he like caved into the mother's idea of like, oh, let's just go see a movie. Let's not really focus on this, and let's just have a good time. And then the father caves, and they go see a movie, and the kid doesn't really learn anything. Like he doesn't get punished. And you see this in school too. The kid, the teachers try to punish him, and they're very harsh. They're opposite. They're almost the opposite of the parents. Like they're very strict on the kid. And I think just because he doesn't have a balance, right? Like I think there's probably times where you need to be strict, obviously, but there's also times where you maybe need to hold back a little bit. And the teachers seem to be very strict, and he gets kicked out of school because he doesn't want to be there, and I don't blame him, And so this is a well-told story. It's honestly probably one of the best coming-of-age story movies that I've seen, and it probably ranks up there for one of the best, among all of the coming-of-age movies. It's a simple story, but very easy to follow, and we relate to it. I relate to it. When you're a young boy, these are all feelings that you have. You're just trying to discover your path, and you're living under your parents essentially, and they have certain rules and things, and school has certain rules, and it feels like all these rules are placed upon you, and you just want to rebel and become like who you think you should be, or find your own path, your own way. You want to just do things for fun and do what you want to do, and you see that from the kid in this movie, and I think they did a great job with the story here. And then the directing as well plays a big part in this movie. I think all the cast did a great job. The crew did a really good job of setting up all these shots, whether it's in the school, in the city. They did a very good job with that, and the direction is honestly perfect. I think that it was very well directed. The actors, especially the young kids, were very well directed, and that probably played a huge role into how well the kid performed for his role as this 14-year-old boy in this movie. So yeah, I'd say if you don't watch black and white movies and you don't like old movies, I'd say get over that, because this was a great movie, and there's a lot of classics like this. I think I came in initially years ago not really seeing too many classics. I didn't really see many growing up, and I had the same opinion. Why would I want to go watch some old movie? It's not going to be good. It's not going to look as good. But then you realize when you start watching them that a lot of these are very well written and very well shot for their times. Think about Citizen Kane, that came out about 18 years before this one. And it's very well shot, and the story is super well written. It's one of my all-time favorites for classics. Just think about movies like that where they're extremely captivating, even though they're from the 1940s, 1950s. And like I said before, it's important to understand the origin of a lot of filmmaking and a lot of French filmmaking. So I would rate this movie as high as an 8.8 out of 10. I really do think it deserves that. It's leaving off a few points for me because it didn't feel like the most unique movie, and it impacted me, but it didn't reach that level where it gets into the 9s for me. But I think technically speaking, it's a beautiful film. It's perfect. We have Akira Kurosawa the great director, saying that this was just one of the most beautiful films he had ever seen in his lifetime. And I think that he's completely correct. And is the 248 spot really where this film deserves to be on the IMDb top 250 list? No, I think this deserves to be higher. There's probably a lot of films that I'll get to on the list that are worse than this movie. I think just because of its influence and the way that you could still digest it and watch it today and enjoy it, I think that it deserves to be a lot higher. I would put it in top 50. I wouldn't put it in top 10, but I would put it in top 50. It's got to be top 100 at the very least. So that's my review for film number 248. Like I said, I think it should be higher on that list, and there's a lot of movies that probably deserve to be lower. Let me know what you guys think. You can read my full review on Letterboxd in the description below. And once again, guys, it's just Art Dudes, and I will see you all tomorrow.